Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today for our live webcast, 5 tips that will help you succeed with the new LinkedIn career pages. My name is Isabel Pryor, and I'm on the LinkedIn Talent Solutions team here in Sydney. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items. You're all muted by default, so if you have any questions or any comments, please use the Q&A box and send me your questions throughout the presentation. And I will ask our presenters after the presentation. We will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the session, so please feel free to send me your questions in the next half an hour. Most importantly, we will also be sharing the slides and also the recording from today's session with all of you, so keep an eye out for an email in the coming days. And now I'm happy to introduce you to today's presenters, Clara and Megan. Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Izzy. Thanks for having us.
Excited to be here. Before we get started, can you please explain a bit what you're doing here at LinkedIn, your role, and also in traditional LinkedIn fashion, something that is not on your LinkedIn profile?
Well, we didn't actually plan that part, so I'm going to stall a little bit so I can come up and think about something. So hi, everyone. My name is Megan Spielman. I've worked at LinkedIn for a little over 2 years here in our Sydney, Australia office. I'm currently a media solutions consultant, and I partner with recruitment agencies across ANZ. I focus on designing LinkedIn strategies that really have that branding flavor, content marketing, and social media. And then something that's not on my LinkedIn profile. Let's see. I guess I'll take it back to my roots. I grew up on a cattle ranch in Arizona, so there we go.
Didn't know that about you, Megan. Hi, guys. My name is Clara, and I am a relationship manager here also in our Sydney office. I've been working for LinkedIn for near on 6 years. I spent the first 3 in our rainy Dublin office. And I've been in Sydney for the last 3 years. Well, sunny Sydney, but today it's pretty grey out there, rivaling Dublin. I partner with recruitment agencies to enable them to achieve their social recruitment, branding, and business development strategies. What's not on my LinkedIn profile that I can share with you all today? Well, I once nearly had my hand bitten off by an alligator. So Pedro, the friendly alligator, tried to snap it off. Luckily, I still have 10 fingers, so all good here. Okay, so moving on, let's get into the crux of the matter and talk about 5 tips to help you succeed with your LinkedIn career page. So over the next 30 minutes or so, we'll introduce you to our 5 favorite features on the next generation of LinkedIn career pages and give you 5 tips how to build out a brilliant page for your agency. By the end of today's session, you'll be ready to start telling your story on the new pages. Before we take a look at our agenda, Megan, we just had an event here in our Sydney office on Tuesday focused around the next-gen career pages and internal recruitment for agencies. Could you share some feedback from the customer panel we had?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of you on the call may have actually come to the event. We had a great time and hope you enjoyed it as well. Like Clara mentioned, the event was focused around our career pages, but how you actually utilize the career pages to brand for internal consultants and attract the best talent. So we actually had 2 amazing guest panelists, customers here in Australia, Cox Pertel and Trust Recruitment. So I'll just point out 2 things that I really love that they both do. So for Cox Pertel, I love their use of harnessing hashtags. So they have a few, but the 2 I'll call out here is hashtag life at CP and hashtag make the move. If you were to plug these into any social media channel, you'll really get a flavor for their company through videos, images, and their employees contributing to those hashtags. It's a really great way for them to bring their company to life. For Trust Recruitment, they also do an amazing job of employee advocacy. But the focus that they put it on is through long-form blog posts, where they really allow their employees to display their thought leadership and their expertise in the fields that they work in. They've actually also produced an amazing video of the event that we had on Tuesday that I encourage you all to check out.
Yeah, it's a fantastic video, so definitely have a look at it up on their new career page and company page. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about today. So we'll start with a quick product intro of the product for those of you who haven't seen it yet. We'll then go through our 5 tips for building a brilliant career page, share a few resources to get you started, and then we'll wrap up with some time for Q&A. So make sure you're jotting down those questions as we go through, and we will try and get to you towards the end of this session. Please also remember you can reach out to your own relationship manager with any questions you may have about everything that we covered today. So Megan, first things first, I'm sure our audience would like to know why we've redesigned our career page. What can you share here?
Absolutely. So today we do want to focus on introducing you to the look and feel of the next generation of LinkedIn career pages. So about a year ago, we started to think that there must be more we can do with career pages. So we didn't want to just dream up what this career page looked like in Silicon Valley. So what we did is we interviewed hundreds of customers, spent hundreds and hundreds of hours asking, what do you want out of a career page? And that's where we really started to uncover 5 main themes. First, showcase what you do. The ability to really share what you do as a business was clearly important to everyone out there. Second, reach more of the right audience. We heard that you wanted it to be easy for the right people to find and engage with your content. Previously, the Career tab was actually fairly hard to find and navigate to, if you all remember it. The new design is prominent and it's front and center. When you land on a company's page, you can't miss it. Drive quality applicants. We know that sourcing and placing great talent is critical to recruitment agencies. In our research, we heard that personalized job recommendations was a massive benefit of career pages, but we needed to make jobs just more prominent, be more discoverable by people when they visit you. So that's why you see the large Jobs tab when you visit a company page today. Tell an authentic story. We really heard that you wanted to be able to share stories about what makes your company great. We also heard that you wanted to better leverage being able to have your employees tell this story. Measure impact. Last but not least, we heard that you need to be able to easily track the value you're getting from your career page. So we've fully revamped the Analytics tab to allow you to have real-time analytics at your fingertips. Overall, the feedback that we received was that we wanted to make sure viewers are able to get valuable information and insight about your company, but that you as a company have the tools to show who you are and be more engaging with the audience that's important to you. Clara, what are some of the results we're seeing from the new careers page?
Megan, we've been absolutely blown away by some of the early results that we've seen. Firstly, we've seen an incredible 60% increase in page views per visitor compared to the previous version of career pages. This really shows us that members are really engaged with the content on the new page. Secondly, and really for all you recruiters out there, I think this may be one of the most important things, is that we've seen a 175% increase in job views on the new page. This means that we're able to serve up the right job to the right candidate at the right time, making it more likely for them to apply for your roles than ever before. So, to get these great results for your own agency, let's look at how you can leverage 5 tips to build a brilliant career page. Let's jump to them now.
Thanks, Clara. We believe that getting these 5 things right will really help you propel and have those great conversations with your audience at scale online. So I'll just run through them quickly here, and then we'll dig deeper. 1, content for different audiences. This allows you to position and showcase yourself as an industry leader to candidates, clients, and potential consultants. 2, share eye-catching content. With the new page design, there's a ton of new places to share images, videos, and content that will bring your company to life. Thirdly, leveraging your consultants. Your employees are your greatest brand ambassadors. Being able to bring them to life on your career page is critical. Fourth, we want you to be able to highlight those job opportunities. This is bread and butter to recruitment agencies. So what we've done is make it both easier to find jobs and make sure that those jobs are more relevant to the people who see them. And then lastly, ROI. We'll talk a little bit about those revamped analytics and how you can utilize them to make sure you're connecting with your audience. Before we dive into our first tip, I just do want to highlight that we'll be sharing some examples with customers across APAC on our call today. I recommend that you jot down these names so that you can reference them as examples and best practices. Let's take a closer look at tip number 1. Here you can see an example from Design and Build. They're a local Sydney or an Australian-based recruitment consultancy. Based on their name, you can imagine that they focus on construction. In this example, they have targeted page views. The view on the top is tailored to construction, and the view on the bottom is tailored to property and architecture. You can see the differences in content and things that they have highlighted on each of these pages. We wanted to make sure that you have the ability to customize different types of content to these audiences. We know that relevancy truly drives engagement with the audience. So who sees what content is a question that we get a lot at LinkedIn. The most relevant page will appear first to the visiting member. That's according to the relevant content you put on the page and the audience you target to and what that member has on their profile. In this example, an owner of a construction company would first see the view on the top, targeted at construction, because that's most relevant to their profile. However, as a business leader, this person may be interested in what else Design and Build can do for their business, whether they're a client or a candidate. They can then navigate to look and discover what else Design and Build specializes in. This first example for Design and Build is tailored at different job functions. Let's actually switch gears and take a look at a different tailoring. In this example, Halcyon Knights has actually decided to tailor based on location. Here you're actually seeing a different part of the career page, but this is all fully customizable by view. In the top example, Halcyon Knights is tailoring to New Zealand. In the bottom example, they're tailoring to Southeast Asia. You can see through the different content, the different photos, they're able to highlight the different teams that they have supporting these locations. Now, the reason that this is impactful is so that you can display and showcase the unique value proposition that you have. Some of you might actually be thinking, as I'm talking through this, that this isn't really a new feature. In fact, our old pages have the ability for you to tailor content to different audiences. However, in the old view, people were not able to navigate between the different views. In the redesign, the views are discoverable. So you have more flexibility to really speak about who you are and what you specialize in. So I have one more staffing example for you related to audience views. On the new design, we just talked about discoverability. So this is what that looks like in play. In this example, Hudson has built out 10 pages. So these 10 views are quite robust. They're focusing on location, specialization, and they also have one focused on internal recruitment. You can see that here to the right, how different these pages look and how they're targeting different content to that relevant audience. Again, the most relevant view will pop up first to the member depending on where they're visiting. This is impactful for your business if a candidate is looking to move locations, for example. They can simply navigate to what you support in different regions of the world. This can also be impactful for potential clients. Imagine you have a client who sits in Sydney, Australia, but has responsibility for hiring in Southeast Asia or even in the United States. They're able to discover how you support businesses in those areas. The same goes for function. CFOs, for example, are responsible for hiring across, not just finance, other functions of the business. So let's talk about how we actually drive relevant people to your page. So So I'm going to switch gears here, and we're actually going to look at LinkedIn as an example. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. I know I can't really hear that you're saying, yes, we want to have a little bit of fun on this webinar, but I'm assuming that you guys have perked up and now you're paying quite a bit of attention. So I'm going to give you this fun analogy. So here's the LinkedIn example. I'll click through the career page, and you can see different snippets of our career page here in Australia for LinkedIn. Our career page is like a party. Now, we all know that any good party needs great people, good food, fun decorations. Certainly there needs to be good conversation and laughter. And of course, who can forget that we also probably need to have some drinks. The career page gives you all of the tools to showcase the best things about your company. But wait, what if we forget to send out the invitations? What if no one shows up? It could be an absolute disaster. We're having this amazing party. We've invested all of this time and money to throw a great shindig, and no one comes. Well, that's why all of our career pages for our recruitment agencies come with targeted ads. These ads are the invitations to your party. Now, we don't send these ads to just anyone. We make sure we send them to only people that are relevant to you. That way, we're only drawing people who matter to you to view the content that you've specially put up for them. So let's change gears and take a look at how you can use eye-catching imagery to capture people's attention. And I hope you liked the party analogy.
Well, I really hope they like the party analogy because I'm going to keep it going. Let's make sure this party rocks all night. So we all know if you're going to have a party, you need to decorate to let everybody know where the party is happening. So one of the first places you're going to be able to highlight your brand is through the cover image, which will appear behind the overview, jobs, and what we do tab, which is actually called Life for our corporate customers. This is similar to how you as a member can currently personalize your profile with a background banner image. So think of this as a banner or a streamer that you'd pin up around the room to highlight that you're actually hosting a party. The three companies I have here are from Hayes, Future You, and Weber Chase. It's easy to see how each of these images immediately draws in the viewer. If you don't have time, I know we're all time poor and it's another thing to do in our day, just think about what you already have on your website or perhaps you're using for your Facebook page, maybe on Instagram, or maybe you have some collateral that you use for brochures or other marketing collateral that you send out to people. Okay, let's talk about another place where we can decorate and we can add more rich media to your page. So here we can see that the Overview tab image differs to the one that appears on the What We Do tab. And this is because this image is fully customizable. Any company page admin can add it in via the admin panel. What you should think about doing is using imagery that represents your agency and reflects other branding that you have online. What is it that you want to get across to people when they get to this page? So what's the first impression you're going to give people? The hero image is the most prominent visual on your career page. And what's exciting about this is it can now be a video rather than a static image. So we can all now be dancing instead of sitting there posing for a photo. It's designed to immediately catch the eye of a visitor. We've made it bigger and better than ever before, as you can see here from the two examples that we have from Now Careers and the Acquire Group. You might have noticed that both of these images have also been populated in the What We Do tab itself. Megan, why don't you take us through the third tip, utilizing your consultants as brand ambassadors?
Absolutely. So before we get started and looking at the features of the career page, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how your employees are your greatest brand ambassadors. If you haven't already discovered Edelman's Global Trust Barometer research, I'd highly suggest you jot that down and take a peek at it after our call. What Edelman has found is that employees are the most trusted source of information about your company. In fact, They're 3 times more trusted to provide credible information about what it's like to work for a company compared to anyone that's a company spokesperson. Now, this makes sense because we all trust people that are like us. We trust people like ourselves. So our third tip is very simple. When you're building your new page, make sure that you keep your employees front and center. The first way that you can do this is by featuring your company's leaders and influencers. Our research has showed that clients and candidates are actually looking to validate industry knowledge and thought leadership of your people. As a result, this module is featured prominently at the top of your page. It allows you to feature up to 4 different employee ambassadors. A great way for recruitment agencies to put this into play is to consider who your audience is and put the most relevant people at the top of the page. For an example, if you have a page highlighting internal recruitment for consultants, you likely want to be showing your leadership and your managers. That audience is going to want to know who they're going to be working for. As a second example, if you have a page targeted towards clients and candidates, say by job function, the sales function, you probably actually, instead of highlighting your leadership, you might actually want to highlight your sales consultants, the people in your business that would actually be placing roles at their company. The second way you can do this is through employee testimonials. Now, this is probably a familiar feature to those of you who had the old career page as well. Here you're able to highlight 1 to 2 employee testimonials to give you more credibility. You can think of this kind of as your social proof, people actually giving a bird's eye view into the organization. This will be available in early April for you to add to your career page. So in closing on this item, the common theme across both of these modules is that this allows you to connect with your audience through the source that we already know they trust the most, your employees. So in addition to featuring your employees and the testimonials, Clara is going to elaborate a little bit on how else you can utilize your recruitment consultants.
Okay, so this is where things get a little bit fun. The first way we can do this is through the new Company Photos module. This allows you to feature real photos of life at your company. Think of it as the Instagram, Snapchat posts of how great your party is. Anybody getting tired of the party analogy yet? Because I'm going to try and keep it going. Okay, I feel like I can hear a few nodding heads there. These photos can be of your employees, your office, events that you are hosting or that you're attending, you name it. You can feature as many as 4 and as few as 4 and as many as 20 photos on your page. Now, a little piece of advice that I give to all my clients that I may or may not have stolen from Megan is to open the curtains on who they are. Here is my client, local Sydney company, Tress Recruitment, showing how their culture and values comes to life on a day-to-day basis. Tress are using this feature to grow their own business and focusing on internal recruitment. All of these images are giving prospective talent look into what life is really like as an employee at Tress. I will say, however, it's just as important to showcase your authentic self to clients and candidates. As we know, people buy from people, and as Megan already pointed out, people like to deal with people that they trust. Now, don't worry, you are in full control of what gets posted. For now, admins will upload photos directly from their own computers, but in the near future, we'll actually allow employees to push photos directly to the admins. You can choose to include or exclude photos as you see fit, making sure there isn't anything up there that would make anyone blush. The second way you can feature employee-generated content on the new page is through the Employee's Perspectives module. Let's take a look at this. This module gives you the ability to share a long-form post written by employees through LinkedIn's publishing platform. You can highlight up to 3 pieces of content that employees have written, whether it's about your agency, the industry, your culture and values, maybe it's about their specific role or division. We're again sharing Tress, utilizing them as an example. They've chosen to feature content from their managing director and 2 of their consultants, all of whom are at different stages of their careers. This is also a great way for agencies to show their expertise and thought leadership. Megan has already mentioned how important this is to build trust and to build relationships.
So as an admin, adding this type of content from your employees is actually very easy. You can do one of 2 things. One, if you have the link, you can copy and paste it here to load the blog post in. The second way you can do that is actually to select from a curated list that we provide for you. LinkedIn will automatically feed you a list of content written by your employees based on how recently they've written it and also the relevancy. So you'll be served up the most recent and the most popular posts that your employees are already posting, making it easy for you to feature different content. This also makes it easy for you to keep this fresh and updated. Now you might be thinking, this is all great, but my employees aren't actually writing posts, or maybe we're not sure where to start collecting this content. There are some really easy ways in which you can engage your employees to share their perspectives. Clara, I know you've worked with a few clients on this journey. Can you share a little bit more about how they're engaging their employees?
Absolutely. First things first, dummy's guide to it, send an email to the team. I'm sure you guys all know how to communicate with your team to that, so we won't double click on that. What I've been finding with a lot of my clients is that they're taking this opportunity to challenge consultants to write their own posts. It's a brilliant way for consultants to build their own personal brand while acting as an agency brand ambassador. Recruiters tend to be a little bit of a competitive bunch. So adding an element of competition as to who gets featured to the page is sure to get the whole team excited. One thing I've been saying is maybe feature a consultant of the month or have a writing competition to see who, if you all do it on the same theme, who actually gets featured on the page. My general advice would be to keep these posts short, simple, and focus on topics that people are passionate about. This really comes through in the writing if we can see that they know about it, they understand it, and it's something they care about. Another technique I'm seeing is the use of hashtags, which Megan mentioned earlier on. This is making it really easy for page admins to find images and content shared by their employees across varying social media channels. You already mentioned Cox Pertel, but they've been super successful with their hashtag #LifeAtCP tag that they use. Similarly, we use the hashtag LinkedIn Live tag. I may or may not have had a live Instagram video going with that tag earlier on today. Moving on to our next slide now. Recruitment agencies. You would not be a recruitment agency if you didn't have jobs. So let's get down to it. So you may have noticed that jobs are now predominantly featured right in the middle of the page. What we've said is we want jobs to be front and center for people to really ensure that they can see them the moment they come to LinkedIn. The other thing that we've done is we've fully automated this process. All you need to do is to load up your jobs through Recruiter, and we'll then actually figure out what jobs need to be served to the right people. For example, right here, when I'm looking at this example of a deco, I'm actually seeing jobs that match my background. So I come from a sales and marketing background, so these are all the type of jobs I'm seeing. Now, if Megan, however, were to go and have a look at this, she'd be served some very different jobs from a deco because her background differs to mine. So each of us is getting a really personalized experience, which is why we're seeing such a great return from jobs with that 175% increase on job views since we've actually updated this. And what if I actually maybe want to have a career change? What if I'm thinking, hey, this sales gig is a bit too hard for me? Well, I can still actually search down at the bottom. So within this blue tab, I can still fully see everything that I need to search for. Now, the only thing I really remember from university is my first year marketing and management class, and a guy called Peter Drucker who said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So let's take a little bit of a look as to how we measure ROI.
Great, thank you, Clara. So this is our last tip for the day, measuring key results. This is valuable in helping you understand where your approach can be adjusted if needed. A lot of time that I actually spend with our customers at LinkedIn is talking about this fifth element. If you're not considering your audience, you're not actually evaluating how you're doing in trying to connect with them, you're missing out on valuable opportunity to ensure that you're telling the right story. This new Analytics tab is the data at your fingertips to allow you to do this. The best thing about this new feature is that it also is exportable to Excel. This is different from our old analytics. You'll be able to see real-time data on how career pages are powering your recruitment efforts. So you'll have insight on who's visiting your page, and you'll also have powerful insights on the actions that they're actually taking, like viewing and applying for your job. You can get a real feel for what people are responding best to on your page. This dashboard will be available later in April, so watch for it soon. Now that we've covered our last tip, Clara is going to show you a great live example from Expand Group to help get your creativity flowing.
Great, Megan. I'm really excited to see that new dashboard when it comes live, because it's definitely something that I've been talking a lot to clients about as well. Okay, so we'll just wait. Right. Okay, Expand Group. Straight away here, when we look on the page, we can see the 3 different modules. We can see that their Overview tab is different to the What We Do tab, and that Expand Group currently have 10 jobs that match my skills. We can obviously also see that big, large banner image in the background, which is a great way to draw me in, and that they're also using a great hashtag love your work. So let's scroll down and look at what we do. So one of the things with Expand Group is they are not just based here in Sydney, but they have multiple locations. So they work within digital technology and media sales, automatically speaking to me, saying, hey, we're the type of person that you should be dealing with. I'm getting to learn a little bit more about who their leaders are, who are the type of people that I would potentially be working with if I thought I would want to go work there. And I can watch a video as well of who they are. This is just taking a moment or two to load, nothing like doing it live. They say never work with animals or children. Well, maybe never work with computers either. Okay, so here you can see it. Now, what we should also be able to do, let's press the magic button and see if this works. Sorry, guys. Again, I'm not the best at technology. If any of you have met me in real life, you'll be able to vouch for that. I can actually check out some of their other locations. So say, for example, Sydney's been a bit rainy. The lockout laws are killing my lifestyle. I think I want to go move to Hong Kong. I hear it's a good party city. And we've heard already I like a little bit of a party. So here I'm getting to see more about Hong Kong. They're slightly different. They're boldly ambitious. Again, this speaks to me quite a lot. I think it might be still loading for you, so sorry. I'll try and slow down while the internet tries to keep up with me. Okay, so now what we're seeing is who these guys are in Hong Kong and how it's a little bit different. Finally, what I want to show you is, just like earlier on when we used the Adecco example, what I'm going to see versus what somebody else is going to see when I go to look at their jobs. So straight away, imagine this. They're bringing out an enterprise account manager. Funny, that's kind of the job I do. Social media strategist. Well, I mean, I'm sure you've learned a lot from me today. I'm sure all this hashtag talk is making you think I'd make a great social media strategist. So maybe these are a couple of jobs that I should look at with Expand. One other thing on jobs and career pages, if you have a career page and you advertise jobs, the imagery from your career page will be pulled through into the jobs, giving a really rich experience for candidates who are looking at your jobs. Now, Megan, I've kind of talked about some of the fun stuff, and I feel like you've been doing a lot of the work, but I'm going to make you do a little bit more work and actually show people how they can actually do this rather than us just talking about it.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is actually navigate to the LinkedIn page, and I'm going to show you the admin experience. So from here, if you are an admin on the page, you'll either see Manage Page here, or in the top right-hand corner, you would see View Admin Pages. I'm going to go ahead and click on Manage Page, and that's going to launch the admin experience for me. So our tool for the career page is quite intuitive, but I will point out a few features that we generally get quite a few questions on. From here, if I want to edit the career page, I'm going to click on the career page and then navigate here to Life. That will open up the admin functionality for the career page. So from here, you can create a new page, and you can also see how many pages you have published. In this case, LinkedIn has 18 of our 30 pages used. I'm going to scroll down, and for today, I'll be showing you how to edit, if I can, there we go, the LinkedIn Australia page. So I'll go ahead and click in there. One of the biggest questions that I always get from our customers is, how do I set up the targeting, Megan? So I'm going to go ahead and click in here and talk to you a little bit about that. So from here, the first thing that I want to point out is the estimated target audience that you see here on the side. This will actually dynamically change depending on what targeting you put in. One thing that I always advise people on is you have two things to play around with here. You have size and you have relevancy. It's important that you balance between those two things. If you get so niche and we only have 2,000 people who are going to see a view, is that really worth the time and effort that you're going to be putting in to create an individual view? An example of that would be if you target for .NET developers. Why not target the whole IT function, because they're similar and they're probably going to respond to the same content, whereas a sales role would be quite different. So I'll just scroll down once more here to show you where the actual targeting is here. So from here, it's going to rank in priority preference of how LinkedIn will serve these pages. I recommend that you pick one of the two areas, geography or job function, to get the most bang for your buck. Most people will have anywhere from 2 to 5 pages. Some of our customers have unlimited views where you can get more complex. So again, I'd recommend you think about either targeting by job function or targeting by geography to get started. I'll go ahead and cancel out of here, and we'll continue to scroll down how you would actually fill out your career page. So from here, all of the sections are editable and very easy to fill in. Every section will allow you to click in and start editing. Now, the last thing that I'll point out before we go into Q&A is that in order to actually publish and make this live on LinkedIn.com, you have to hit the Publish button. You can save throughout while you're updating, but until you hit Publish, the public won't actually see the view. So I'll go ahead and cancel out of here, and then I'll turn it over to Izzy to help us with some questions.
Great. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Clara. Thanks for the presentation. Let's take some questions. Use the Q&A box if you have any questions for Clara and Megan on what you've seen or anything else on career pages. Now is your time. I had a few come through while you were presenting, so I'll kick off with those. One of the questions that came through is, we have limited resources. How long will it take to build out the new pages? I guess that's going into, like, if you have a smaller team, how much time do you have to invest, and how do you go about if you only have a small team?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that a lot of people ask. So I would actually say to you, we kind of looked at the admin experience briefly. You can edit and go as you please. So even that top module of just entering your leadership or people that work for you should take you about 1 to 2 minutes. Start there. Have an audit of your career page and actually look at which sections you don't have filled in. Then have a think about what resources you already have. Start there, and then start thinking about what you might need to produce or gather, like pictures or employee blog posts. So my recommendation is to start on one thing, do little things until you can actually build out your entire career page. The other recommendation I always make is ensure that you set yourself a goal. So I'd encourage you to write down, after this call, we will have our career page updated by next Friday. Give yourself a timeline because that's generally when you're going to get it done.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Megan. You can always, reach out to your relationship manager for some tips and advice as well, and for any more local examples that they may have of some really high-performing career pages.
Great, thanks. You spoke about employee efficacy, and a question that came through for that was, do you have any tips on how to engage your employees?
Yeah, so I think some of the things that we mentioned earlier on, so figure out who in your office already cares about these types of things. Do you have a consultant that is already blogging? Well, why not leverage them? One thing that I think is really useful is now within the LinkedIn Recruiter tool, you're able to see who's engaged with your brand. This is essentially, cutting back on cold calling. So make it very tangible for the consultant that if they are building this personal brand and helping build the agency brand, they're probably going to have an easier job doing their own job. As Megan mentioned, using hashtags, keep everything simple. Photos work really well. Little bits of snippets of information, curating content. There's lots of things, and as I said, competition. Everybody loves the competition. Well, not everyone, but most recruiters do. So, let's get them involved in creating something so that they're going to be front and center on this new career page.
Thank you. Another question that came through was, are all the new features live yet, or when will they become live, everything you've shown?
Sure, that's a great question. The features are all live and we're 100% ramped. There's only 2 that we're still waiting to release. That would be the analytics on the back end that just admins would have availability to access. For the time being, you still have access to the old analytics. That will be launching in early April. And then the second feature that is not live yet is the employee testimonials. So that should also be launching around that same time frame in April.
I think one thing to mention as well, Megan, is that for page admins, they can still view the old company view, but nobody else can see this. So I know there's been some confusing questions over that, but again, it's only you as an admin who can see it. Everybody else sees your new, fresh look. Again, reach out to your relationship manager if you need to query this.
Thank you. Another question on content. How often and how much should we update the content? Any recommendations there from your side?
We would always say quality over quantity. So is there a reason you're updating it? Do you have something new and fresh to say? Or is what you already have on the page, is it still relevant? If you are, having a very big branding campaign where we're looking at driving similar people to your page time and time again, well then that would be a good opportunity to update it. So I think that's something that you would need to work with your relationship manager alongside with the solutions consultant. Megan, for example, told a story at our event on Tuesday how it took her 4 years to decide to come work at LinkedIn. So if she'd seen the same thing over and over for 4 years, she might have gotten a little bit bored. So I would say definitely maybe at least once every 6 months. If you have new, fresh, interesting stuff, it can be more frequent than that. Megan, do you have any?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and it's a fabulous thought, is there are easy ways that you can do this. So say, for example, we just had International Women's Day yesterday. Imagine if you just updated that hero image on your page in support of that event that is happening. That's a really easy way to look fresh and new and capitalize on things that are going on in the market. Same thing, we see a lot of content updates go out that are really capitalizing on holidays, celebrations, things that are current, but you can also weave that into your career page. You could have something for Australia Day posted as an image. So there's easy ways that you can continually also have your career page looking fresh.
Great tips, Meg.
Thank you. Maybe let's take one last question. Will you provide any training for recruiters? I guess if people want to upgrade, are there any resources that people can look up? on the new pages, or should they just talk to their relationship manager?
I would say definitely talk to your relationship manager.
Sorry, I made a face at Clara. So yes, you should definitely talk to your relationship manager. They can absolutely assist you and also with your customer success manager in ensuring that you have the right feel. We can absolutely be a sounding board, but ultimately we want you to really have your personality, what your company does, shine through on your page. So we don't want to give you too much advice or direction on what to put there, but we can absolutely spend some time walking through with you about the different features that are available and how you can capitalize on them.
And in terms of some of the logistics, in the LinkedIn Help Center, so help.linkedin.com, you can go there to find all the different sizing and things like that that you need for your imagery and videos as well.
Great. Well, thank you both for answering all the questions and for the presentation. And thanks to everyone else who joined today. We will send out the slides and the presentation in the coming days to you all. And you'll also receive an email with the link to a survey. So let us know how you liked today's webinar. And we hope you'll join us for another webinar sometime soon. Thanks and goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.